For the most part, Alvin and the Chipmunks, the road chip, is very family friendly. There's no sex or nudity in it, and the violence is very much comic book or cartoonish violence. So it's the kind of stuff where people get kind of headbutted and pushed over, and they slam their heads into road signs and things like that. They're that comic effect kind of bang laugh type of violence. There is one scene that you might want to be aware of, though, that if you are on the squeamish side, and this is probably the standout scene for me in terms of what I would call violence. There is a bar brawl, a bar scene in the film, and in one scene a chipmunk throws toothpicks at a man's head, and they're thrown kind of spear-like, and they do insert themselves into the victim's skin. So they look a little bit like acupuncture needles then sticking out of the man's head, or if you like, he looks a bit like something out of Hellraiser. So the idea of pins sticking into the face, is a little bit uncomfortable. So there's that scene. There's also one scene when a character is hit by a car, and again, you don't actually see the impact happen. You don't see any injury detail. You understand what's happened, but this is used as a plot point. So, once it happens, the kind of story moves on. There's a change in the story after this incident happens. So again, it's not too upsetting for the audience. So that's the kind of violence there is. There's no blood or gore or anything like that. But just be aware that particularly at the start of the film, the characters, little small guys, there's some scenes where they're tormented and bullied and teased quite badly. And again, it's meant to be for comic effect, but if this is something that your child is perhaps going through, then it might be a little bit of a sensitive issue. So just keep that in mind. In terms of sex and nudity, there's no sex whatsoever, not even any kissing or anything like that. The closest thing to nudity is that there is some pool scenes where you do see people wearing swimwear and kind of skimpy clothing and that kind of thing. But that's it. There is one mild innuendo. There's a wordplay on the word nuts. But that's the closest thing to any kind of sexual related content or sexual language or anything in that category. In terms of alcohol, the alcohol does actually have a presence in the film. So while you don't really see people drinking so much in the film, it has a presence just in the background or on benches and tables. So for example, in restaurant scenes, there'll be glasses of champagne and people holding bottles of beer and things like that. Drug use, there certainly isn't any illegal drugs or any drug references through the film, but there is a scene where some animals are kind of drugged, and it's explained to the audience that they're drugged with cough syrup. So again, it's nothing particularly sinister, but I'd put that under drug references in the film. Bad language, no swearing, no offensive language. There's a little bit of name calling, as you'd expect in an Alvin film, and lots of kind of like poo, bum, fart references, again, as you would absolutely expect in an Alvin film. I think the most offensive word that's used in the film is butt. But that really is it. What this film does offer is a good opportunity to talk about family, and in particular blended families. One of the subplots of the film is one character looks to be, or it's suspected that he is going to propose marriage to another character. So there's the conversation there about bringing a new family member into the home, into the family unit, and how people feel about that. There's a lot of unease and a lot of discomfort and mistrust and anxiety around this particular subject. So it might be a really nice opportunity after the film to then talk about how, sometimes when these things happen, it's okay to feel that it's not for the best, or it's scary or uncomfortable, or perhaps not really what that particular person wants, but maybe a lot of it is just imagined. And if you have a conversation, a dialogue about these things, then a lot of things can come out in the open, and it might kind of ease the journey a little bit. So that's probably the major thematic opportunity that you'll get in this film. Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Road Chip, is directed by Walt Becker and stars Jason Lee and a voice cast led by Christina Applegate and Justin Long, amongst several others. It's a lovely film. You can read more about the actual specific content in the film on my website, which is cinemum.net.